Goedendag everyone, hello from Zandvoort. We are excited, it's the third race weekend and the second race coming up in just a bit. Zandvoort is in the Netherlands, as we all know, and it's right by the beach, a beautiful circuit embedded into the dunes, and it feels a little bit like beach weather, but not in regards because it's warm and sunny, but because it's really windy. And the man who's hopefully gonna have a little sensation here today is René Rast, because you broke a record. You're holding the new record of 26 poles in a DTM career, and that's one more than Mr. DTM Bernd Schneider. So we're excited about that. You're starting here in the best position possible. So how are you going to make it a very, a memorable one?
I don't know yet. Hopefully we have a good start in the first good couple of laps. The aim is obviously to win the race, to just add one more on that record list, which is not broken. So I try to catch Bernd Schneider on that one as well. But obviously, biggest achievement so far. One of the biggest achievements in my career, the 26 poles, is something incredible. And like 9 years ago on this circuit, I started my DTM career. And my dream was just to become a DTM driver. Now to be already in that position to be breaking records is incredible.
Absolutely amazing, and all in all, I mean, Zandvoort is an amazing track, but it's also pretty tricky. And how do you think will the wind perhaps maybe play into the game today, or maybe make it even harder?
Yeah, the wind has changed compared to the last couple of days. Different direction. It's also way colder than yesterday and the day before. So we need to see what the car will do. The car is normally very affected by the wind. It's not going to be easy because I have a lot of pressure from behind. Let's see. I mean, we need to react on the situation and take it as it comes.
All right, I'm sure you'll do really fine. So thank you so much, René. Best of luck for the race. And here are your commentators.
Thanks very much indeed, Verena. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a cold, windy summer, I think. It's supposed to be summer anyway. Afternoon here at Zandvoort, our third weekend of DTM 2025. At round 6 of 16, about to get underway in just about 12 or 13 minutes' time. I'm Chris Hartley, Brian Oliver in the commentary box with me, and René Rast, the man on pole position for a record-breaking 26th time. Albeit he did that 2 days ago because of the change of the schedule to allow Jack Aitken and Jules Gunnon to go testing at Le Mans this morning. Qualifying happened on Friday afternoon. There's yesterday's race winner, Ian Nguyen, picking up his second win in the DTM. Let's see what he can do, but he's thrust himself right into the championship fight. Let's go back to that cold grid now with Verena.
And I'm here with Marco Wittmann, who's still in an interview at the moment, but he's excited because he's starting in P3 today. Hey there, Marco. And wow, it's your 200th race today. What an amazing number. And starting from P3, how are you going to make it that hopefully it's also going to be one of your best races?
I hope to. Definitely it feels good. I mean, 200 races, it's quite a remarkable number. Which also makes me proud, I haven't missed a single race since 2013. I'm on the grid, and obviously when I had my first DTM race, kind of dream came true, and now I'm here. We're 200 races later, so obviously so far really enjoyed my time in DTM, and I hope many to come.
Absolutely, so do we. We hope so as well. Woo, that's well. Best of luck for the race, that's for sure. We're keeping an eye on you. Thank you so much, Marco. And now let's move on to Thomas Preining, who's starting in P5. So that's right behind Marco here. And you see all these people here. I mean, it's just amazing. It feels like full house. We've got so many people here who are just excited to watch the DTM because, of course, the DTM is a very amazing race series. And I can see Thomas Preining. He's over there. He's all relaxed, like always. He seems, with a big smile on his face. So let's find out how he's doing. Thomas, hello there, still getting dressed. How you look like you're in good spirits, enjoying the cold here in Zandvoort?
Always in good spirits. Enjoying life. I thought it would be a bit warmer, a bit sunnier, but you got to play the cards you're dealt. I think all in all, it's going to be a very exciting race. I think the weather obviously can play its part. Even if it stays dry, it's really, really difficult to make the tires work, and we have 2 pit stops today, so 2 sets of cold tires, which will definitely spice things up.
It'll spice things up, and you're starting from P5, so hopefully you're going to spice their life up in the front as well.
I really hope so.
All right. Best of luck, Thomas. Thank you so much. Have a great race. And now we're going to see if we can grab Ben Durr, who is, let me just see, so many people here. It's so difficult to see. But you know what? I can see Mr. Guven, so let's grab him first. Hello there. Yesterday you won, today you're starting in P7. So tell me how you're going to do it, that hopefully we'll see you on the podium again, smiling like you did yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, probably will be harder because I start P7 instead of P5 from yesterday, and I have a bit of success ballast in my car, so probably will be not easy, but I think we have a good package, we know what to do, and I think Sunday races are quite crazy, so it's, I think, more important to stay clean, out of trouble, and then score the points. But yeah, we will try to go forward.
Also, we have 2 pit stops. It's a new format this season. What do you think of that? Do you like it? I mean, it's tricky, right? And it's all about strategy in that case.
I think I like it. In the beginning, I have some question marks because it was tight, with like a lot of pits, but I think it's working really well. What we see in Oschersteven and Laws's ring, it brings really excited race to DTM, and I think this race will be again cool race, so I like 2 pit stop.
All right, and we want to see you mix it all up there in the front. Thank you so much. And now let's find out if we can see Ben Durr. And yes, there he is, standing out in his white racetrack with all the black suits around him. Did I say a racetrack? Race suit, I mean. The wind is just doing something with my brain. It's so windy. Hello there, Ben. How are you doing?
Not too bad, and you?
Not too bad as well, but it's windy. I mean, my eyes are tearing a little bit. We're here at the beach. I was kind of expecting sunnier weather, but I guess it's the same for everybody. So what are you going to make out of this race today?
Yeah, I mean, 6th place is, I think, a quite good starting position for today. Luckily, it's dry. We're struggling still a bit in wet conditions, but yeah, dry, everything looks good today. Yeah, some hard wind here, which is tricky around Zandvoort, but let's see how it goes.
Absolutely. And looking around here, I mean, we've got full grandstands here, so many people here in Zandvoort. What do you think about the atmosphere? And I mean, these fans are just the best, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, Zandvoort always a mega atmosphere. It's crazy how many fans are here, so thank you to everyone here. Yeah, just incredible feeling, and I'm enjoying every second.
So are we. Well, in that case, best of luck for the race. Ben, thank you so much for taking the time. And now we're certainly ready to go racing, so let's do it. Here are your commentators. Hold on tight. It's going to be an exciting one. I can feel it.
I think you're right, Verena. Thanks very much. Great to catch up with all those drivers. Verena Vries doing a great job down there on the grid to speak to some of the star drivers of this race, potentially. So, yeah, Marco Wittmann about to celebrate his 200th start in the DTM. And that will move him up to 7th place in the all-time rankings, level with Manuel Reuter, still involved in the DTM, of course, as a driver these days. And he'll also overtake this year Mike Rockenfeller, Kurt Tim and Jamie Green as well to move up the rankings. So Marco Wittmann, who came into the championship 2013, as he said, after racing in single-seaters, started out a single-seater career in Formula BMW, was runner-up in that Formula BMW World Finals, if you remember those. He finished second in Formula 3 Euro Series, came into the DTM route then under the wing of BMW, who he's raced for the whole time he's been in DTM. And then won the championship in his 2nd season in 2014, won it again in 2016. In between that, in 2015, he won a race at this place at Zandvoort, and he won a race last year at this track as well, from 14th on the grid. He starts 3rd on the grid. There is Luigi Auer then, the driver that leads the championship. The Austrians had 2 wins, a 4th, a 9th and a 10th so far. And Arjen Guwen, who you heard from on the grid, 2nd in the championship on 69 points after his 2nd win of the season yesterday. 67 points for Jordan Pepper, who is there on screen. He started from pole position for the first time in his career yesterday, but the race, unfortunately, didn't go according to plan for Jordan. He got unlucky, really. I'll tell you more about that shortly. But in the end, he finished in 7th place. He's still 3rd in the championship, though. Jules Guyon 4th in the championship and 4th on the grid. And here's some super slow-mos of the drivers. Jules Guyon and Jack Aitken have got here via private jet in probably rather windy, turbulent conditions because they had to come from the Le Mans test, which is why we're racing later in the day today. There's Jack as well, driving a hypercar earlier today at Le Mans. Skip forward 2 hours, and he's here in Zandvoort, totally different country, racing a totally different car. But that's the man to beat, René Rast, on pole position for the 26th time in his career here at Zandvoort. Welcome then, everybody, to Sunday at Zandvoort. The rain, for now, has gone away. The sun is kind of out, but it's cold, and it's very, very windy. As windy as it was on Friday Well, we had the qualifying session for this race. René Rast it was that got pole position. The BMW is looking strong in kind of similar conditions to this on Friday, because his teammate Marco Wittmann is directly behind him now, first and third on the grid, and sandwiched in between them is the Ferrari of Lausitzring race winner Jack Aitken, who starts second. Let's take a look at this track then. The Zandvoort circuit, first built back in the 1930s as a street track. DTM came here in 2001. 14 turns, lots of undulation, quick changes of direction, very technical circuit for the drivers to negotiate, some high-speed sections as well. And we've had some great races here. Marco Wittmann is about to start his 200th DTM race. Last year, he had a spectacular race in a carnage-strewn battle to come through from 14th on the grid to win the race. He had all sorts of contact and battles. His car started falling apart halfway through the race. Smoke came from it. We were worried. Marco just kept his foot buried, and the team celebrate it, and he took a bow after what was his 19th win in the DTM. He hasn't won since. Wouldn't it be poetic if he won again today from third on the grid at the same circuit and marked the occasion of his 200th race win, 200th race start with a 20th race win, 200 race wins. Even René Rast hasn't managed that yet. Let's have a look at the starting grid then in reverse order. On the final row of the grid with a penalty, Ricardo Feller in the Land Motorsport Audi and Nicola Bart in the Aston Martin. Nicky Tim on the podium yesterday starts 22nd with ballast, and then it's Fabio Scherer, Gilles Magnus 20th. Timo Glock had a spectacular puncture yesterday, 19th. Max Powell on the podium yesterday, 18th on the grid with Ben Green for company. Arjun Maini and Mirko Bortolotti, the reigning champion, are next up. On row 7, it's Luca Engstler and Maurice Schuring, one of the home heroes. Maro Engel, 12th on the grid. Championship leader Lucas Auer, only 11th on the grid for this one. Thierry Vermeulen and Tom Callender start next. 8th is yesterday's pole sitter Jordan Pepper, and 7th is yesterday's winner Ian Nguyen. Ben Durr, 6th on the grid. Thomas Preining, 5th on the grid. Then it's Jules Gun on 4th. Marco Wittmann starting 3rd. Jack Aitken, fresh from the Le Mans, starts 2nd. And René Rast starts the race on pole position for this one. It looks like it should be dry, but who knows? The wind comes and goes and brings all these clouds with it. Championship-wise then, as I said, 82 points for Lucas Auer, 69 for Ian Nguyen, 67 points for Jordan Pepper. And a big crowd here to watch the race. 32,000 spectators, despite the pretty horrific weather we've had at times here this weekend. That's an even bigger crowd than we had here last year. So massive thanks to all of them for coming and cheering us all on. My name's Chris Hartley. Alongside me in the commentary box is Brian Oliver. Brian, yesterday, a really dramatic race, and a lot of that was to do with the weather. Most of them started on wets. A couple of brave souls, Nicky Tim and Max Powell amongst them, started on slicks. And that ended up giving us a couple of surprise results.
He who dares wins. Yes, good afternoon, everybody, as we celebrate Marco Wittmann's 200th race and we get ready for this, which is set fair to be a humdinger. We've just witnessed a BMW 1-2 in the GT Masters race that has just been and gone. Of course, identical cars to the DTM. Is that a good omen for René Rast and Marco Wittmann? Well, Jack Aitken will have something to say about that. Starting from the front row, he will be very, very eager to get his championship, keep it on track. A 12th place yesterday, not what he had in mind. Keep an eye on Jules Gun on the second row as well. The instruction is given to start your engines.
Hold on to the board.
Much.
He nearly took him off, didn't it? Well done, he caught it though. So start your engines board. Now Jordan Pepper started from pole yesterday. Got unlucky in the race. He was leading. He built up something like a 8 or 9 second lead before the pit stops. Most of them had started on wets, including Jordan. The track was drying up, and he got unlucky because he stayed out a bit longer than the others. His teammate Luke Rengster came in first. They had a problem changing one of the wheels, and the guy that changed the wheel thought he'd just made a mistake, and there was no issue with the equipment, with the wrench that they use. And so then Jordan came in, and they discovered actually it was the wrench that was the problem, and that was why Jordan had a 13-second pit stop.
Leading car 1, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Leading car 1, go.
The Sven Stopper getting the procedure underway, and yeah, Jordan Pepper getting unlucky because then he had the problem with the wrench as well. It took them only about 4.5 seconds longer than they should have to change the tyre. Apparently, Gottfried Grasser, the team boss, was saying lightning quick thinking from the mechanic. He switched to an electric screwdriver, which he had hold of, and changed the wheel that way. But then the unlucky point came because he went out on cold tyres, which take a lap to get going anyway, just at the point where we had another little rain shower. Everybody else had changed their tyres a lap earlier. They came out. It's still hard to get the tyres up to temperature, but it was much easier for them than it was for Jordan because he also had to deal with the rain. So he said it took me 10 laps to get the tyres up to temperature, and that was all the time he lost. So he ended up finishing, well, 8th in the race, but then promoted to 7th as Fabio Scherer, who celebrated his first points and the best result so far for the Ford Mustang in the DTM yesterday. He's struggling to get that car going. The marshals did a great job trying to bump start him into life. Can they get it going or not? Can he join the race? Come on, push, 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 try and engage that car and get it going. Be a terrible shame if he missed out, having waited all day to race, to not be in it. So, yeah, the ironic thing about that Jordan Pepper pit stop, if they'd known there was an issue, to get team radio.
Need the proper warm-up for the grid lap because it's really cold with the windy. I told you.
Yeah, make sure you get some heat in those tyres. Yeah, it's very cold indeed. Yeah, if they'd known there was an issue with the wrench, Jordan Pepper, Gottfried Grasser was saying, would have come in later as Maurice Schuring almost goes into the back of Maro Engel on replay. And he would have come in 2 laps later. He would have still been on his wets when the rain came down. He probably would have ended up winning the race, they were saying, but it wasn't to be. So let's see what Jordan can do this time. René Rast went off the road twice yesterday. The first time he admitted after, just completely my fault. I just overestimated how much grip there was on slick tyres on a damp track, and he went off at turn 1. It was a result of the damage from that sent him off the second time. He thinks the splitter broke and he had no chance of steering into the corner. You don't very often see René Rast make a mistake. I cannot remember the last time he went off the road on his own accord. I bet he'll make up for it today somehow, though. He's on pole position. Incredibly, the 3-time champion has been on pole 20% of the races that he started in DTM, an incredible record. As you say, Brian, Jack Aitken might have something to say about all this. He starts second, and he's already a race winner this year, and of course won a race here last year. Here we go then, 55 minutes plus 1 lap of racing, 2 mandatory pit stops in this race. Brian Oliver, then meet Chris Hartley to talk you through another action-packed adventure in the DTM 2025 Championship. René Rast on a record pole position career of number 26 is about to lead the charge as the lights go green and we go racing here at Zandvoort. Rast and Aitken look like they're off to decent starts, but also Marco Wittmann off to a great start, and his 200th race start is a good one because he's got himself in a 2nd place by the looks of it. And watch as well for Tommy Preining. He's having a go at the Ferrari and at the BMW. Rast leads, Wittmann is 2nd. Who's going to be 3rd? Aitken is just about hanging on to the spot for now as they go into turn 3, and the Ferrari driver loses 1, but he makes sure he doesn't lose 2 places. Preining slots back in behind him, and then it's Jules Gounon running in 5th place behind them. A bit of a gap back then to yesterday's winner, Andrew Gouin, who was a winner yesterday, carries 20 kilograms of success ballast. Nicky Tim has 10 kilograms of ballast for finishing 2nd, and Max Powell has 5 kilograms for finishing 3rd. There's Thierry Vermeulen. It's a gearbox issue that put him out yesterday in the Ferrari, and he's going side by side with Jordan Pepper. Ferrari versus Lamborghini. Luke Exler, just to say as well, got a penalty for the incident with Maro Engel post-race late last night after the reviewed onboard footage. So he was dropped from 4th down to 10th, and other drivers behind him all moved up a position as a result of that in an amended result which came through only this morning. So the perfect start for René Rast, the perfect start for Schubert. They're 1 and 2. Not a perfect start though for Jordan Pepper. He's got a problem and he's slowing right to the back of the field. The left side of the car looks like it might be a bit down to me, and he's surely headed for the pits. Disaster then for yesterday's pole sitter at the start of the race. It might be as a result of contact, I reckon, and the contact that we saw in that battling first lap, and he's struggling to lift the car back. I reckon there's either puncture or suspension damage. The left side looks a bit down. Let's hear from him now.
Front left puncture.
Oh, front left puncture. Just like he had, not front left, but rear left. He had a puncture on Friday, which threw him off the road in spectacular fashion. It's been one of those weekends, I'm afraid, with Jordan. Bad luck all round for the South African, with the exception of that brilliant pole position that he got for yesterday's race. He'll get going again, but he's now kind of relying on a safety car at some point to get back into the mix. Remember, 3rd in the championship for him as well. So René Rast leads after a lap and a bit of racing. Marco Wittmann is 2nd, 3rd Jack Aitken, 4th Thomas Preining, and there's Gounon and Gouin 5th and 6th. as we get some replays of the start, Brian.
Yes, so Rene Rast was quite a long way ahead when they got to the line, whether he had jumped ahead or whether Jack Aitken was holding back. But it is under investigation into turn 1, an incident involving Jack Aitken. But Rene Rast certainly was well ahead, and that just allowed Marco Wittmann to sail through in the gap on the inside as well. The view from Jack Aitken around the outside, just getting a little bit bumpy with Marco Wittmann, riding a bit of curb, and now the green BMW slots in front. But I thought that Jack was just a very long way back when they got to the line. I don't know whether he was holding back or whether Rast was pressing forward. I think it's Rast's decision, the exact pace that they get to the start-finish line.
Worked out for Wittmann though, didn't it? He just glued himself to the rear wing of his teammate and blocked out Jack Aitken. Jack then furiously trying to hang on around the outside, took to the curbs, maybe a wheel on the grass, and then he had to worry about Thomas Preining, who there in the Porsche appeared next to him on the run into turn 3. But Jack bravely held on to the inside line and held on to that corner. More assuring getting bumped and battered around with Luca Engstler. And this is Maro Engel down the inside of Pepper, and it was that contact there with the Ferrari to the left side, which I think has done for the puncture for the South African. So that's always the drama, isn't it, when you're in the middle of the field on the first lap of a race. That's where all the trouble comes. To Landgraf Mercedes absolutely running together here with a Ferrari coming after them, and that Ferrari is Thierry Vermeulen. Tom Callender, I think, is ahead, isn't he, of Lucas Auer, which is really impressive. He's his 2 best qualifying. No, he's not. It is Auer ahead, but he's certainly with him. And we get some news now down in the pit lane with Verena.
And I'm here with Fabio Scherer. Fabio, what a shame. We saw the car being pushed and you tried your best to start, but unfortunately, no race for you. Why? What's the problem with the car?
It looks like the drive shaft let go at the start right away when I left, so nothing to do. And yeah, super sad after yesterday's great race. And I think we had a lot of potential today again. But it is what it is, and I think the experience would have helped all of us. But heads up, and Norris ring next.
All right, thank you very much, Fabio. Back to you.
Thanks, Verena. Yeah, they had a few teething problems with that car, and had an issue with the pit stop at the Lausitzring last time out, where they had a slow pit stop, and then the car went into self-shutdown mode. He's also been battered about a bit in races. He's shown lots of potential, Fabio, but hasn't had the results he probably deserves. A replay of Maurice Schuring versus Tom Callender. Just on the fringe of the top 10, and then he went wide, and then this was a replay of Mirko Bortolotti nipping past as well, using all of his cars. He's made a pretty good start to the race, gained a few places from where he was in the middle of the grid. Through the banked left-hander at turn 3 goes Marco Wittmann, but he cannot live with his teammate at the moment. Rene Rast, Brian, he's 2 seconds up the road.
Both the BMWs, there's certainly a sense of deja vu for those who were watching the GT Masters race just now. BMW 1 and 2 looking very quick, a little over 2 seconds between first and second, although now Wittmann has just taken a 10th out of that. But Rene Rast very much in control. He has the fastest lap of the race so far, a 1:34.935 set on lap 2. Ben Green had a poor qualifying, but he's now coming through as well, challenging Tom Callender. Callender, who was in 14th place, but Ben Green working his way up through the pack.
Yeah, Callender qualified a career best, it's only his 2nd weekend in DTM, but 9th. He's struggling at the moment as we now get Ben Dur going side by side with Maro Engel. Ben qualified 5th at the Lausitzring, 6th here, and he didn't have a good race from 5th at the Lausitzring with various penalties, but he's making a good job of this, going up against the driver that finished 3rd in the championship last year and trying to fend off Maro Engel's teammate in the GT World Challenge, race-winning teammate, championship-winning teammate, Lucas Auer, who is, of course, our championship leader in that pink and red number 22 Mercedes run by Team Landgraf, who, just to tie it all together, won their first race in DTM at this track with the other bloke, Maro Engel, 2 years ago. So it's all tied together between them, but in between them is that McLaren, a replay of a possible bit of contact here, yes, with Tom Callender and Arjun Maini. Quite brave to try and take on a big Mustang, but Tom didn't come out on top there. Now already, we're getting towards the first pit window. The first pit window on a Sunday these days starts just 10 minutes into the race. It's a 10-minute pit window, and then after minute 39 of this 55-minute plus 1 lap race, we'll have the second mandatory pit stop window, which is only 6 minutes long, and there'll only be 10 minutes or so of racing left after that. The incident between Maini and Callender is being investigated. Maro Engel is ahead of Ben Durr, so he won that battle and he's up to 7th place now. So Maro's had a pretty good start to the race, hasn't he? He was 12th on the grid. So Rast leads, Wittmann 2nd, 3rd Aitken, 4th Preining, and then Gounon 5th, Guen 6th with a success ballast, Engel 7th, Durr 8th, and then Auer 9th. Vermeulen, who had a non-finish in race 1, but a good 4th place finish here last year, is at the moment rounding out the top 10 with Engstler, Schuring, Bortolotti, Miney and Green, the other drivers in the points calendar, going backwards from 9th to 16th as it stands. Fabio Scherer never started the race. Jordan Pepper has got going again and he's out there and he's as quick as anybody, but of course he's a long way back thanks to that contact and that puncture he picked up on that one.
So the pit window, when it opens, will be open for 20 minutes, and the cars, the teams will decide when to pull the cars into the pits, and that's going to be a big strategy call of everybody having one eye to the skies, just to check whether the rain is incoming or not. Because of course, if there's a risk of rain, you're going to want to delay your pit stop for as late as possible into the pit window. At the moment, it's looking dry. René Rast still in control, 1.8 seconds at the front from teammate Marco Wittmann. Jack Aitken not got the legs to keep up with at the moment. He is 2.2 seconds back from Marco Wittmann.
René Rast last won a race in the DTM here back in 2018 in the Class 1 era. We've already been back here 2 years. This is the 3rd in the GT3 era, and he missed one of those years because he was racing in Formula E, and that was a championship leader pushing a bit too hard coming out of the turn up the hill, but Auer got away with it. The pit window opens, the first pit window opens in 1 minute's time.
And it's 15 minutes, not 20. My apologies. It's race 2, not race 1.
Ben Durr is once again, like he did at Oschersleben, like he did at times at the Lausitzring, mixing it with some really experienced DTM drivers. He's keeping Lucas Auer at bay for now as they come down into the chicane at Hans Ernst Bock to go right, go left. Be careful not to go too far beyond the curbs because that grass is still wet. There are still puddles formed up from all the rain we've had overnight last night and this morning, overnight the night before, overnight on Thursday. It keeps raining here, but we've got a dry race for now. More incidents from lap 100 investigation. I've never seen so many investigations and penalty notices coming up on our screen as I did yesterday. They were up late into the night, as I say, and even changing the results late at night going into this morning. So the 15-minute pit window is about to open in 3 seconds' time. On board with Mirko Bortolotti, who's only just ahead of Arjun Miney, and they're battling at the moment for 13th place.
So the window opened for 15. Yes, that's 15 minutes, and this is where the strategy will pay out. René Rast has a nice clear track in front of him at the moment. He's not got any traffic coming up, so it might be the team will want to just keep him out as late as possible to make the most of that. Maurice Schuring on his home race had high expectations coming in here. 12th place at the moment, was looking very racy yesterday in that orange and black Porsche there in the middle of the pack, but he is really hustling that car. Arjun Miney too, he's been looking very racy as well. Ben Green there in the 15th place at the back of that queue.
Yeah, Schuring got promoted to 5th place in the end after Engstler, who was 4th on the road, got that post-race penalty late last night. Auer was promoted up to 4th as well. Schuring 5th, Wittmann promoted to 6th, and he started quite a long way down the order. He's done that a few times already this year, did it here last year as well, coming charging through the order. Qualifying pretty much all of last year was an issue for Schubert and the BMWs. They raced well, but always had to come from lowly grid positions, but not today. 1st and 3rd on the grid, 1st and 2nd in the race. The Ferrari that split them in qualifying there of Jack Aitken coming through in 3rd, and not much of a gap now from Preining to Gounon. So Jules Gounon looking closer than ever as the pit window opens and already drivers start to dart in. Ferrari of Thierry Vermeulen is the first of the top 10 drivers to make his way in. Mirko Bortolotti in the Lambo comes in. Tom Callender in the Mercedes. Max Powell, who got Powell Motorsports' first ever DTM podium yesterday, is in. Ricardo Feller, who picked up a post-qualifying penalty, which put him at the back of the grid, he's in. And Nicola Bart is in as well, close to getting his first points yesterday. This just gives you an idea of how frenetic it is to try and change the tyres and get the cars in and out in less than, ideally, in and out in less than 7 seconds.
As if the pressure of a tyre change wasn't enough, they stick a camera on your head as well, so the whole world can see what you are doing. Right, Mirko Bortolotti keeping to the speed limit. That feels painful, doesn't it? And up ahead of him, Thierry Vermeulen. looking to impress in front of his home crowd.
Yeah, and getting further out of the pit exit than he did yesterday, because that was where he took the pit limiter off, and he said the diff just locked and sent me into the wall. Max Powell has got a very quick Audi behind him. Ricardo Fella, winner here in 2023 with the Abt team. And these are both just coming out of the pits. Low line for the Audi, high line for the Lamborghini. We'll see who came out on top in that battle later on. So those pit stoppers battling away. Still 12 minutes odd to go of this pit window. Engel hasn't found a way past Preining as yet in this battle for 4th place. The gap between Rast and Wittmann, which grew fairly early on to 2 seconds, has hovered at 2 seconds for a while, so lapping almost identical lap times now, as Jules Gunon is the first of our lead group to come into the pits. And he's followed by the McLaren of Ben Durr.
Get the anchors on, Luca.
Yeah. Slow it down, slow it down, slow it down. Engstler desperate to come in as well. Miney comes in, and Nicky Tim has come in as well.
So the crew get to work on the problems with Jules Gunon there. Had to wait so it wasn't an unsafe release. So the car that was coming past, he finally got going, but lost valuable time getting going once again. The helmet cam, what a great job. It is absolute poetry in motion. So job done for Nicky Tim, back out onto the fast lane.
What if the mechanics are allowed to take 9 kilograms off if they have to carry an onboard camera like the cars? Right, so, well, they don't take it off anymore, do they? Ask Emil Fry about that. So Gunon comes out first. Engstler, look at Arjun Miney almost pushing the car ahead of Ben Durr out of the pits, but not succeeding in doing so. Not yet, anyway. Jordan Pepper has come into the pits for the 2nd time. This time it's for a mandatory stop rather than to replace a puncture. So the answer is Max Powell managed to keep the Audi of Ricardo Fella behind him for a lap. They both came out of the pits nose to tail. Looked like Fella was going to pounce, didn't it, at turn 3? And when we cut back to them, he still kept him behind. So Max Powell having another strong weekend, the one-time DTM race winner. Preining has eased the pressure now from Engel. Here's your race leader, the blue BMW of René Rast, the green BMW of Marco Wittmann 2nd, then the Ferrari of Jack Aitken, and then it's Thomas Preining in 4th. Big gap back then to his teammate, yesterday's winner, who comes through next ahead of Maro Engel. So Engel has dropped back significantly, and he's lost a place to Gunon as well. So Engel, on the lap before that, must have had an issue somewhere. And just behind him is Lucas Auer, as different lines here, one on cold tyres. That's Jordan Pepper trying to get his tyres up to temperature, taking the low line, and all the way around the high line was Thomas Preining, making sure he didn't get stuck behind the car. The Lamborghini that's trying to warm its tyres up, having just come out on fresh tyres. And look at this contact between Ben Durr and Mirko Bortolotti. Now remember, Ben Durr had contact with Mirko at the Lausitz ring 2 weeks ago, sent him onto the grass and got a penalty for it. Mirko gets his elbows out and returns the favour.
They have long memories, these racing drivers, don't they? Heading in towards turn, Arjun Miney and Ben Durr making contact with each other. I think that Ben Durr was just going to try and shut the door. Arjun Miney says, yeah, not on my watch you don't. But now Ben Durr with the inside line returns the compliment a little into turn T. Now up onto the banking of turn 3. Arjun Miney going wide. Ben Durr running him as close to the fence as he dare. Then flat on the accelerator. Nobody is giving way here. This is personal, isn't it? Ben Durr on the inside. A puff of blue smoke as they make contact. Arjun Miney says, I'll be having that, thank you very much. All that's done as it's dropped Ben Durr into the clutches of Tom Callender.
Welcome to the club, Ben Durr. You're in amongst the hardened battlers of the DTM, and getting stuck in, but also have to take a bit as well. So one of the biggest cars against the smallest car in the field there, but the McLaren still sticking to the back of the Mustang as Callender has a look at the inside. Nicky Tim just behind as well. He came from 16th to 2nd yesterday and started the race on slicks. He said afterwards that he called for wet tyres several times on the radio, but the team ignored him. And he said it was the right thing to do because we ended up finishing on the podium.
The team always knows best. Right, that's the team that have got to work. The Manthey Junior team releasing Maurice Schuring out into the pit lane. Still Jules Gunon as the leading of the stoppers. Incidents between Jordan Pepper and Ben Durr under investigation.
Yes, again, very busy in race control. One of many, yes. We need 20 timing screens to list all of these.
Look at this.
Arjen Gilman was right when he said to Verena, Sunday races are a bit crazy. So, yes, this was two drivers not prepared to give an inch and absolutely not giving an inch to each other and coming close to contact and then making contact on the way out of the corner. I'm having this corner. No, I'm having this corner. And in the end, it was the Indian driver that just about got through.
Like turn 3 is not scary enough. Mauro Engel showing in front of Jules Gounon in 10th place. That's the of the stoppers. So Mauro Engel showing in 10th place overall. We've still got 9 cars in front yet to stop, but Jules Gounon dropping a position to Mauro Engel there. Yeah, Engel's stationary time was 6.8 seconds as Thomas Preining comes into the pit. Jules Gounon's was 7.4 seconds. So both decent pit stops, but it's also about your in-lap and your out-lap as well as just a stationary time and the whole run through the pit lane as well. They're all held back by the same pit lane speed limit. Right, race between the pit crews. Landgraf get the rears and then the fronts changed. Manthey, who are one of the best in the pit stop challenges, always get their man out as well. So the two Austrians who were together in the race yesterday at a point as well until Thomas retired for the second consecutive race. He comes out ahead. Auer is just a few seconds behind him. There's a big clear track behind, but anybody with tyres up to temperature will absolutely eat up their advantage as they come out. So Preining from Auer, and then in the background, it's side by side between the two that have made their pit stop. Jules Gounon versus Mauro Engel. Mercedes versus Mercedes. Gounon's going to have the inside line and gets his place back. He was 4th before the pit stop phase. He was ahead of Engel before all of that, but Engel is having a really good race here from 12th on the grid, trying to get, if he can, his 3rd podium of the season. Likewise, Jules Gounon has had 2 podiums this year, so fantastic battle. 6 minutes to go. Oh no, a pit stop speeding penalty coming the way of Jules Gounon. So he's going to have to serve a penalty. And we've got 3 Mercedes together now as they get onto the tail of Lucas Auer, who's already got his tyres halfway up to temperature, but not enough to fend off Gounon. But Gounon will drop back behind this pair when he serves his penalty. And Engel is the one he's really got to worry about. And Engel is going to try and get round the outside before they get to the chicane. Right, first of our top 3 drivers into the pits. Jack Aitken, rear's done, front's done. Emil Fry a bit slow away, but he gets going eventually. And will he stay ahead of Ayhan Gu? He should do. He will, as the rears and then the fronts are changed, and the Manthey team let the Turkish driver be on his way as well. So we've still got 5 cars yet to come in for their stop. René Rast continues to lead. He's opened up the gap to 2.8 seconds over his teammate Marco Wittmann. Of course, the team can't bring them in on the same lap because they're going to be sharing a pit box, aren't they? So the 2 BMWs yet to stop. Ben Green up in 3rd at the moment, but of course he is yet to stop as well. So the cars that we've just seen out onto the track, Ayhan Gu and Jack Aitken getting the heat into the tyres. Yeah, and on this lap, Jules Gounon is going to have to, on the exit to turn 12, run through that penalty box. You can only go past the pit lane once you've received that penalty, and then you have to go in on the next lap. So Gounon is about to, I'm afraid, tumble down the order. The driver that started the weekend 2nd in the championship, rear-facing onboard camera with Jack Aitken trying to get his tyres up to temperature. So he's the leading pit stopper, but Preining behind him has got his tyres up to temperature and ought to be able to get through with better traction, more heat in the tyres in those Pirellis coming out of this corner. Aitken's trying to dig in for what will be potentially a 3rd place finish here behind the BMWs as it stands. Talking of which, in comes our first BMW, Marco Wittmann, on his 200th race. Get this right, boys. They changed the rears, they changed the fronts. Schubert are 2nd in the pit stop challenge for the fastest pit stop so far this year. Only a point behind Landgraf, who've done a great job. And on average pit stops, they've averaged this year 7.2 seconds, I worked out, which is better than anybody between their 2 cars. Next best, averaging 7.5, are Winwood and Landgraf, as we've got now Ayhan Gu coming under fire from Luca Engstler. Side by side, Luca Engstler's got the inside line flat out, 200 kilometres an hour as they go through the banking, and the Lamborghini driver is through. And next is going to be the turn of the Ferrari of Thierry Vermeulen to get through. Vermeulen's going to try and go around the outside on the way into turn 1. Guen's not having any of it. Remember, he's got the weight on the car as well. In amongst that battle as well is Gounon, because he's served his penalty now and dropped back in the yellow Mercedes. And Vermeulen got through, so the young Dutch driver had a good race here on his home circuit. And the Mirko Bortolotti at the back of that queue as well. He goes to the inside, has a little look on the fight that's going on ahead of him as Jules Gounon, but he's not able to make any kind of move at the moment. The view on board as they come tearing over this blind crest takes so much courage under braking into turn 7. You can see Jules Gounon on the back end just sliding slightly under braking out towards turn 8 they come. Ben Durst had 2 black and white flags awarded to him. One for pushing car number 1, Mirko Bortolotti, and the other for pushing car number 36, Arjun Maini. Race leader Rene Rast into the pits for his stop.
Yeah, Wittmann is the leading pit stopper. He's at turn 12 at the moment. Preining is the second of the pit stoppers, and Aitken third. Rast ought to be coming out a couple of seconds ahead of them once his tyres have heated up. He'll be much further ahead of them at a point, but it's going to be a terribly slow outlap for him on those cold tyres, which the BMW in particular does not like. So he's basically a straight length clear at the moment of Wittmann, but that will absolutely evaporate that gap. We've got Ben Green and Gilles Magnussen as well from second and third on the road, so they're going to come out on cold tyres into the thick of the action, both trying to be in the points, and Gilles Magnussen trying to get the first points for the Come To You Racing squad in the Aston Martin. They've had some good pit stops. They had a really good pit stop yesterday as well, so they've done a good job there, seeing as that team is not used to performance pit stops, rather minimum timed pit stops in other championships they've raced in. Look at this, side by side, as Preining got past Aitken. That was from a couple of laps ago when Aitken was on the cold tyres. We saw the beginnings of that manoeuvre. I suspected Preining would get through into the chicane, and that's exactly where it happened, despite the best efforts of Jack, who was still trying to get his tyres up to speed. So Rene Rast, the race leader, is at the moment about to go to turn 10. Getting closer to him, though, is the sister BMW of Marco Wittmann in his 200th DTM race. Preining on for a podium after back-to-back non-finishes, following a run of 35 races consecutively in the points. And then it's Jack Aitken, one of last year's race winners, who is in 4th place. We've still got 30 minutes to go, and we've also, Brian, got another pit stop to come.
And that will shake things up once again. Good job from Thomas Preining, starting from 5th on the grid, working it up to 3rd place at the moment. Jack Aitken trying to close in on him last time across the line. Look and see what the gap was between the two of them. I'm still waiting for the screen to refresh. About 1.6 seconds last time around. So I think Jack Aitken trying hard to see what he can do about the Porsche in front of him. They crossed the line this time. I think it's going to be less than 1.6 seconds this time around, and it is 1.3. So Jack Aitken has taken about 3/10 out of the gap between himself and the Porsche. There's the race leader, Rene Rast. Marco Wittmann close by with him, 1.4 seconds between them. So through the pit stop sequences, I think Marco Wittmann has closed in on Rene Rast.
Yeah, it was 2 seconds more or less, wasn't it? So he's gained about half a second back as it stands. Gaining time on all of them at the moment is Jack Aitken. Absolute best lap of the race last time around as Tom Callender and Ben Green go wheel to wheel. And it's the Mercedes that gets through, and the Ferrari might be about to drop another position as we watch on board with Riccardo Fella. Mirko Bortolotti getting through as well, not Mirko Bortolotti, Nico Tim getting through as well in the other Abs Sportsline Lamborghinis. A great battles going on here at the tail end of the points. Riccardo Fella now sees a gap. Ben Green still getting his tyres up to temperature, having only just pitted. He will have fresher tyres a bit later on in this stint. He does concede the place in the end, though, to the Land Motorsport Audi driver. So Rast, 1.5 seconds up the road from Wittmann. Preining is 3rd. Absolute best lap last time around to Jack Aitken with a 1:34.3. So he was about 3/10 quicker than Preining, who is trying to get that podium place back from. Maro Engel from 12th to 5th. Lucas Au, the championship leader, is 6th. Luca Engstler is 7th. Thierry Vermeulen 8th. Arjun Gounon, yesterday's winner, 9th. And Jules Gounon, who served a penalty for speeding in the pit lane, is 10th. Bortolotti is 11th. Skuring is 12th. Maini, Durr also in the points. And Callender also in the points, looking to get his 2nd championship point of the season.
And Wittmann has taken about 0.8 of a second out of Rene Rast's lead. So the big BMW is closing on the big BMW.
Yeah, and it would certainly be poetic if Marco Wittmann could win his 200th DTM race, but it would be poetic if Rene Rast could win the race, which he starts a record number of pole positions from, his 26th career pole position, beating the great Bernd Schneider, who's 3rd in the list of all-time winners. That still topped that list by Bernd Schneider. who's got 43 wins in the championship, and he's always here in the DTM paddock and always looking as fresh as when he was racing all those years ago. So great shot this as they climb up the hill, go through turn 6 over the crest at 230 kilometers an hour before they touch the brakes, hit them hard and go down into turn 7. Another slight downhill run into the flattest part of the circuit here. Hardly any undulation as go right through turn 8, left through 9 and 10 then, and down that back straight. This is a great onboard camera shot to show a driver at work, Ricardo Feller, third in the championship 2 years ago, now back with Land Motorsport. He's still actually the ADAC GT Masters lap record holder around here in a race from the championship winning year in 2021.
Keep fighting. You're much quicker than him.
Quicker than him, Luigi, so go for it. And if you've ever watched Lucas Sauer, you know he goes for it. He always goes for it. He's spectacular to watch. Maro Engel, after a disappointing day yesterday, digging in. 10th place for Maro. He got one position back after Luca Exler, who'd had the contact with on lap 1, was later penalised. But you can see that Lucas Sauer is closing all the time, and these are two likely championship contenders as well. Luca, the championship leader, Maro 5th in the points at the moment, but he's going to be a contender once again. They go roaring through, Mercedes versus Mercedes, and up now into turn 6, going over the crest. Spectacular to watch them. Luca Exler is on their sort of pace as well, and Thierry Vermeulen as well. So if Engel and now are getting into a fight for 5th, Exler and Vermeulen will be with them as well. It could be a 4-way battle.
One of my favourite camera shots here on this sequence of corners, going absolutely flat out. Right, news from race control. Incident between Ricardo Feller and Nicky Tim in turn 1 under investigation. They're busy up there in race control today, aren't they? Rene Rast has responded to Marco Wittmann, has opened up a gap just a little at the front. Lucas Auer still staring at the back of Maro Engel. Right, this was the incident under investigation. Nicky Tim giving Ricardo Feller the squeeze on the exit of turn 1, saying if you want to come past me, you're going to have to go a lot harder than that. This was the view from Ricardo Feller. I think we're about to feel a bump. Oof, there it is. Onto the dirt he goes, and Nicky Tim is through.
Max Powell getting a face full of gravel as a result of all that. He was just behind the pair of them. He closed up the gap as well. So Nicky Tim just outside the points at the moment in 16th. Ricardo Feller in 17th. Max Powell has been overtaken since then by Ben Green in the Ferrari. So Max down to 19th place now after the glory of yesterday. Great day yesterday for Powell Motorsport. They got there as a team, first podium in DTM, and they got a win in the GT Masters category yesterday as well. So that battle continues. Feller trying to get the position back from Nicky Tim. Both trying to catch up to Tom Callender, who's holding on at the moment to the last championship point for 15th place. Through the banked left-hander at turn 3 they go. One of the parts of the circuit that was reprofiled in 2020 when Grand Prix racing came back here for the first time since 1985. And once again, they skitter over that uphill section through turns 5 and 6. Dirty windscreens all along, and Mirko Bortolotti on the radio.
6 more laps to pit the window.
6 more laps.
Oh, that's good information,
and
isn't
another
it?
pit window, yeah, with 39 minutes into the race. For 6 minutes is when that second very short pit window opens. Lucas Auer still can't do anything about Maro Engel, though. That battle for 5th place.
Well, the cars are supposedly evenly matched because they're identical brands, so it really is down to just forcing the car in front to maybe make an error. There's a bit of difference in the tyre wear, of course, but the two of them very, very evenly matched for that 5th place is what they're fighting. And there's your confirmation, just a little under 8 minutes. But of course, the pit window is open for a whole 6 minutes. So they've got lots of time to think about when to bring their car in within that window. Ben Deur is under investigation, just says pit stop. That's an ominous sign to flash up on our screen. So Ben Deur, he does seem to enjoy getting into conversations with the stewards this year, doesn't he? It's a new punchy Ben Deur. But he's under investigation for some kind of infringement.
In the GT3 era, the last 2 years and 1 day, so the last 5 races we've had here, we've had 5 different winners. Aitken, Wittmann, Engel, Feller, and yesterday Guwen have all been winners here in the GT3 era since we came back to Zandvoort. Rene Rast could make it 6 different winners out of the last 6 races. and he'd actually be the 12th different winner from the last 12 visits to the DTM, last 12 races of DTM here at Zandvoort, going back through the years as well. So it's always a track that throws up different results, and you can never predict what's going to happen, but that in a nutshell really is the DTM. Right, nothing between this pair as ever. The two champions, 5 titles between them. René Rast with 3, Marco Wittmann with 2, and only 1.2 seconds between them. Thomas Preining, also a champion of 2023, and Jack Aitken, 3rd and 4th, 6, nearly 7/10 of a second between them, and their lap times very similar, but the Ferrari very much hanging on to the Porsche.
And that was the view from his windscreen as he chased down the former champion out of turn 14, the Ari Luyendyk turn. Out onto the pit straight they come. The fastest part of the track, then the heavy braking into turn 1, the right-hander, Thomas Preining well ahead at the moment. Jack Aitken trying to get himself into a podium position, but there's that Porsche that stands in the way. He can see the race leaders up ahead. Rast 1.395 over Marco Wittmann at the front, so it looks like he's got this under control. And then it's a 3.6-second gap back to the battle that you're watching here. I just love this. Look at them nailing it over the bumps here. The Lamborghini normally manages to get sparks up into the air, but we wouldn't see one come past there. Jack Aitken still following Thomas Preining into 7, into 8.
So turbocharged cars 1st, 2nd and 4th in this race. The BMWs, the Ferraris and the McLarens are the cars with turbocharged engines. The normally aspirated Porsche of Thomas Preining hanging on, though, to the final podium position at the moment, looking for his 2nd podium of the year. It will be his 2nd podium at Zandvoort as well. He's never had a win here in the DTM. So we've only had 2 years prior to this one in the DTM, but he's still looking for his 1st win around Zandvoort in that Porsche. But it'll be a welcome podium this for Tommy, given the last couple of race results, or rather non-results that he's had. Sun now breaking through as they come out of the chicane, past the penalty box, which Jules Gounon visited earlier, which is why he's down in 10th place now. And I can see on the screen that Ricardo Feller has got back ahead of Nicky Tim in their ongoing battle. So he's back up to 16th in the Audi. And you might as well go for it if you're 16th. And no points for 16th. 1 point if you get up to 15th place in the race. As our leaders come into Tarzan, into the right-hander, Rast from Wittmann. The gap coming down, though, between the Porsche and the Ferrari, down to 4/10 of a second. So about 2/10 quicker on that lap was Jack Aitken. Then it's Engel, Auer, Engstler, Vermeulen, Gouin and Gounon rounding out the top 10, all in a long line of cars going down towards the right-hander. We're just about 4.5 minutes away from the pit window opening for the 2nd and final time.
The pit stop that was reported to the stewards for Ben Dorr was for unsporting behaviour, so who knows what occurred there. We'll no doubt find out eventually. Arjun Maini and Maurice Schuring, they continue their fight. Out of turn 3 they come. Arjun Maini trying to find a route to pass Maurice Schuring. Schuring in 12th, Maini in 13th.
Just a shout out for Jordan Pepper. He's going as quick as anybody out there, but he's all on his own due to this puncture that he had on the 1st lap of the race, just miles back from anybody, back in 23rd place. But his best lap is quicker than the best lap of the race leader. So, you know, if he'd been up there, he'd have definitely been in the mix. He desperately needs there to be a safety car. But even then, he's not going to have long to try and charge through the order if that were to happen even. So really frustrating day for Jordan Pepper. He came into the weekend, or came into the day 3rd in the championship after that great start to the season he had at Oschersleben. Right, Arjun Maini gunning after a Porsche, and that Porsche is bright orange and black, and it is driven by one of the 2 home racers here, fresh from his 1st top 5 finish in the DTM yesterday, Maurice Schuring. They're battling over 12th place. They're also trying to catch up to the car ahead, which is that Lamborghini driven by our defending champion, Mirko Bortolotti. The Italian runs 11th at the moment.
It's good we can watch 2 races at once here. On the left-hand side of your picture, you can see the view from Jack Aitken, and less than 3/10 away from Thomas Preining in 3rd as Arjun Maini ducks to the outside of Maurice Schuring, under braking into turn 1. He's going to try and go the long way around, but that big brute of a Mustang takes a bit of turning with the nimble Porsche, just keeping the advantage around turn 1. Into turn 2 and then up onto the bank into turn 3. Will Maini take a different line through turn 3, slightly lower, but then allows the car to run up high. Maurice Schuring has him covered off at the moment, but now the grunt of the Mustang following him out to turn 4, turn 5, turn 6, and then the braking of turn 7.
In the points again for Maini and the Mustang. He had a retirement yesterday, but his teammate Fabio Scherer got their best results so far since the Fords return to the DTM for the first time since 1994. So HRT are getting there with that car. There'll be some circuits that suit it better than others, but it's very much a competitive car, that, mixing it with lots of established teams and drivers. So Hubert Haupt's team and Uli Fritz, who runs the team and his team principal with all of his vast experience of DTM, doing a really good job with that new to DTM car, the Ford Mustang. One or two teething problems, as we've seen and said, but when it's up there running, it runs well. And that is a pretty menacing sight as you look back at Arjun Maini, 7th in last year's DTM Championship, and back for another season with HRT. That's a good partnership that they've had previously with Mercedes, of course, but these days with the Ford Mustang. Right, the gap back out to what it was before the first pit stops, really, just over 2 seconds. René Rast has edged away from Marco Wittmann. Preining is still got his mirrors full of Jack Aitken. Only about 0.3 of a second between them. Pirelli's at the ready.
We're heading towards the last scheduled stop of the weekend. We're a minute away from it. The strategists in the teams will be doing their sums, deciding when to bring the cars in. René Rast still has an open track in front of him. I don't think he's had any lapped traffic at any point so far, so had a nice open road for pretty well the whole race, apart from through the pit stop sequence. Marco Wittmann has kept him in his sights, but hasn't been able to close in enough to make a challenge. Thomas Preining has got his mirrors full of Jack Aitken, very much has been for quite some time now, and it might well be that Manthey EMA decide to bring Thomas Preining in early, or may decide to keep him out late. They might decide to bring Jack Aitken early to try and get the jump on Thomas Preining through the pit stop sequence.
So on average this year, Manthey's pit stops, that's all three cars, have averaged a time of 8.4 seconds. Emil Frey, 8.8 seconds. So fairly similar in that respect as well, although the Manthey Junior portion of the garage has been a bit slower than the pit stops for Guen and for Preining. So they will fancy their chances of growing that gap and certainly keeping Preining ahead based on their normal turnaround in the pits, compared to the Swiss team that run the Ferraris. They've got a massive gap back to anybody else, though, haven't they? Right, here we go. Lucas Auer comes in at the top of the pit window. Jules Gounon comes in, stick to the pit speed limit this time. And Maurice Skuring comes in as well. After a difficult first weekend, Brian, at Oschersleben, he's very much looking at home as a DTM driver already, isn't he?
Well, he is at home, that's why. Maurice Skuring's on his home race and has really shown some form this weekend. There is Lucas Auer lighting the rear tyres up, generate the heat that way. There, the yellow Mamba of Jules Gounon joining into the fast lane as well. So Skuring is out. I'm wondering whether Emil Frey Racing might bring Jack Aitken in quite quickly to try and do an undercut on Thomas Preining in front of him. Teammate Ben Green in and out as well. So all of their scheduled pit stops for this weekend are done.
6.4 seconds each for Auer and Gounon, for Landgraf and Winward. And about 1.2 seconds slower pit stop for the Manthey Junior team that run that orange Porsche of Maurice Skuring. There, we haven't much sight of him since that first lap. It's Jordan Pepper, who's been unfortunately going around on his own, so he catches up to them, and at least he's somebody to try and have a battle with. But as I say, immensely frustrating for the South African driver, but he's proved already this season that he's absolutely going to be a contender, and massively surprised if he doesn't get a race win at some point this year. Here we go then. It is going to be a straight fight between the pit crews because third and fourth come in together. Preining and Aitken. Aitken closes up as much as he can, breaks as late as he can before they get to the white line that signifies the start of the pit lane and the start of the pit lane speed limit. So he made a bit of ground up there. But will the team lose a bit of ground compared to one of the sharpest crews in the pit stops? Manthey. Rears and fronts. Doesn't look that quick, does it, for Preining compared to Norwood? Good enough. He's just out, just ahead of the Ferrari of Aitken. So all told, with Aitken closing the gap a bit on the way into the pits, but a slightly quicker pit stop for Manthey. It is, as you were really, Preining's was 7.1, 8 seconds dead for Aitken.
I wonder if Manthey brought Thomas Preining in then to cover off the potential undercut from Jack Aitken, bringing him in early so that Aitken couldn't do that first. Now out into the pit lane. It's going to get busy because it's a very short pit window, just 3 minutes and 20 seconds left. Still a number of cars yet to come in for their final stops. Cars getting mixed up with those with cold tyres and those with warm tyres. Jules Gounon just coming round as well. He's got tyres up to temperature.
Yeah, so Preining and Aitken are the leading pit stoppers, then Luca Engstler, then Lucas Auer as it stands, then Bortolotti. Rast, Wittmann, Preining the top three overall before all of this second pit stop phase open. Aitken was just behind in fourth, remember, so we'll see if it stays like that once the BMWs come in, and the gap between the BMWs will now grow because Marco Wittmann has just popped into the pit lane as Luca Engstler tries to fend off Lucas Auer. So in we come with Marco Wittmann, his 200th race, trying to get a podium out of this. He'd love a win, but he definitely wants to stay in contention for the podium. He's running second before the pit stop window, and it was another very sharp stop. 6.4 seconds, as quick as we've seen today.
Expect to see René Rast potentially next time around, because he is now the only car that has not or is not in the pits. Everybody else in. So Marco Wittmann done and dusted. There is Mauro Engel. Team Winward set about working on that car off the jacks, lighting up the rear tyres. That looked pretty swift to the eye, and out of the pit lane they come.
Yeah, he should be a solid fourth after all this, I reckon. So Preining and Aitken are just going into the first turn. There you see them. And then Mauro Engel will come out just behind them, but he'll be on cold tyres. So we're just waiting, as you say, for René Rast with just under 2 minutes of this short 6-minute pit window open. But most of them elected to come in pretty early in it, really. So Rast trying something a bit different. At the Lausitz-Ring, his tyres were big time going off. He tried to get a race win there, couldn't quite fend off Jack Aitken in the end, who came through with a lap and a half to go to take the win from him. But this time his biggest threat is coming from his teammate Marco Wittmann. He might have been a threat at the Lausitz-Ring in that race had he not had an ABS problem from second on the grid. Here he comes then, René Rast in for a stop. Lights on to show that he's hitting the pit lane speed limit to make sure he doesn't go over that. He stops on the spot, on the money, rears off from the Schubert team, across to the front. It's all done in a flash, but it's all done smoothly and calmly. Away he goes. That looked good, and it was 6.5 seconds. It was a bit slower than Marco Wittmann, but only 0.1 seconds slower than him. So he should be still comfortably clear, even after this warming up lap of the tyre. So he's creeping towards the end of the pit lane, and you'll see just in a moment that green BMW pop into vision. There it is, coming out of the final turn. And by the end of it, he'll probably be around about 2 seconds behind Rast, and we'll only have 10 minutes or so of racing to go. A nice big gap back for him. Andrew Gouin has been off the road. Of course, there's a traffic jam as he rejoins right in front of Boris Schuring. Schuring is ahead of Miney, and Miney then gets past him as well, but he came out right into the middle of traffic. So Gouin in trouble, and under investigation for weaving in the pit lane is car number 8, which is Nicola Bart. And look at this, absolutely nose to tail here between two great Italian brands. One a Ferrari, one a Lamborghini. One of them happens to be a champion. Mirko Bortolotti trying to swing around the outside, and he does it. Fantastic move from Mirko, and he gets the place ahead of one of the home heroes. So Bortolotti having a terrific battle there with Vermeulen. At 9th and 10th they are. Then it's Schuring, and then it's Miney, and then Gouin. And this might be showing us what happened to Gouin, why he went off the road. He was in that battle with Vermeulen. He was trying to go around the outside of the chicane. There was contact. He went through the gravel trap, just about avoided that huge puddle, rejoined, and from Maurice Schuring's point of view, watch, there's about to be a green Porsche right in front of you, right in front of you.
Oh.
Great reactions.
Yes.
Teammates as well, remember. That was close.
Yes, that was a scary moment for Maurice Schuring, I think. The incident is under investigation. Well, there's no surprise there. Right, there's your leader. There is second place, running together. 9 minutes and 10 seconds, plus 1 lap as things stand at the moment remaining in this race. Thomas Preining in that third place. Jack Aitken in fourth. So there they come. There is third place. Jack Aitken not as close as he was leading into the pit stop sequence, but they are well ahead of Mauro Engel in that 5th place. So the 1, 2, 3, 4 reasonably spaced out at the moment. Jack Aitken looking solid, but doesn't look to be able to do anything about Thomas Preining at this time.
No, he's dropped back a bit, hasn't he, since they were more or less nose to tail when they came out of the pits. Fighting hard, though. Still trying. Yeah, having said that, Brian's just spotted, he's just on the fastest lap of the race.
Jack Aitken.
Yeah, 1:33.7. So, yeah, just took a bit of time to get it going, but he got it going. And Aitken is after another podium. So this could be a great battle. They end up together on track quite a lot, Preining and Aitken, and when they do, there's loads of respect between them. They love racing against each other, and it's always a joy to watch. So hopefully we'll get a bit of that before now and the end of the race, and we might get a bit of this, because Marco Wittmann is almost with René Rast. Rast is just a fledgling. This is only his only 128th race in the DTM, up against the ultra-experienced Marco Wittmann on his 200th race. The gap between them is down to just about a car length now, and you're on board with a man that starts his 200th race, and there's only one thing on his mind. I tell you what, he's had a really strong start to the season this year as well, Marco Wittmann, after a couple of frustrating years. It's good to see him back, getting a good start. He's just got his head down when qualifying hasn't worked out. He's always come forward in the races. He drove bravely with no ABS in the last race at the Lausitz ring, and if he can get a win here, will be very much in that title battle as well, but he's got to try and find a way past another multiple champion.
He took a second out of him on the previous lap, Marco Wittmann, out of René Rast. So now he's suddenly closed up. It was 1.5 seconds, and it's gone down to half a second in the space of about a lap. So I wonder if René Rast had a bit of a moment. His last lap was a second slower. He did a 135.084, Wittmann a 134.087. So I wonder if René Rast had a bit of a moment on that previous lap.
Well, Marco's got maybe slightly fresher tyres, because they both had to start the race with the tyres on which they qualified, because they were both in the top 10. But then, you know what wearing of tyres they ran for the second stint or the third stint. A penalty lap coming the way of Thierry Vermeulen for causing a collision with Ian Nguyen as you look on board with Jack Aitken. He's the vision of concentration, isn't he? And that's what it looks like. I mean, he looks cool and calm and collected. He's just in his office. He's just doing his job. It just happens to be at 260 kilometres an hour. Having just maybe edged away again, René Rast from Marco Wittmann. It's only a bit, but it's about half a car length more clear than he was before.
Of course, they're both running for the same team, so very important not to actually get too close to each other. But Marco Wittmann, as you say, on that 200th race, would dearly love to celebrate that with the top step of the podium. Jack Aitken not visibly that much closer to Thomas Preining at the moment. We'll have a look as they come across the line, see what the gap is between them. It's 0.8 between first and second, 6.8 back to Thomas Preining, and then 0.8 of a second. So Jack Aitken's taken 0.2 out of Thomas Preining's third place.
Yeah, Schubert are third in the Teams Championship at the moment between Mantine Winwood, so they could score a maximum 45 points here for first and second for a 1-2 and really close that gap, which would be very handy for the team that, of course, were the Teams champions last year. They had 3 BMWs last year with Sheldon van der Linde in the mix as well. Arjun Maini and Maurice Skuring have been super glued together in this race, haven't they? And really enjoying their battle. Well, I'm enjoying it. I don't know if they are, but it's very, very close once again. But the Porsche is still just about ahead of the Mustang. And at the moment, they are up in 11th and 12th positions. And with Vermeulen having a trip to the penalty box, they've got a chance, both of them, of a top 10 finish here. So Rast back out his gap to 0.8 of a second now, just under 5 minutes plus a lap remaining in the race. Brian and I walked through that bit of track on that climb up to turn 6 on Friday night. And Brian, there are actually scrapes on the surface there where the cars bottom out.
Yeah, the track is quite badly damaged where they're bottoming out. And when you have the onboard cameras, you can actually hear them hitting the ground. It's really impressive to watch from the side of the track as well. Luca Engster is looking under enormous pressure from Lugi here, isn't he, for that 6th place. Done a great job, Luca Engster. He's made up a load of places. Started down on the 7th row of the grid at the start of this race. So up to 6th place. Good haul of points there if he can bring it home. Look who's in the background, though. You can't keep a good man down. Jules Gounon, who'd been through the penalty box. And that's exactly what's happening to Thierry Vermeulen at the moment. Through the penalty box, that's going to be painful. He sees his arch rival come racing past, and I should think Ian Nguyen might have just been giving him a little wave as he went past as well.
Yeah, it was for this incident on replay. Oh. They couldn't believe it. They were very frustrated at that. But that shows that the penalty works, doesn't it? Because it allows Nguyen to get back past him, other drivers as well, but it costs you 5 seconds. So frustration for Vermeulen will say, look, I didn't do it on purpose, but the steward's word is the steward's word, and he's had to serve the penalty. So one bit of bad luck for one Dutchman favours another, because Skuing up into the top 10 as a result of that, with Miney in 11th, Guin back up into 12th place.
Look at this.
Yeah, Rast under the cosh again, isn't he here? 0.6 of a second at the start of the lap. It's a bit less than that now. It's the gap yo-yoing, and Wittmann is really making him work hard for this. These two pushing each other along. They're absolutely miles clear of the battle for third. They're about 7 seconds ahead of Preining. Preining still only 0.3 of a second ahead of Aitken. So 2 duels going on here. One for the win, one for the final spot on the podium. Engel 5th, Enxler 6th, with Auer still breathing down his neck. Gunon not far behind. Bortolotti in 9th, continuing to get points out of races where he's had a bad qualifying.
Wow.
Torsten Schubert has a cup of tea and just soaks it all in.
I was about to say to you, do you think they're biting their fingernails at
No.
Schubert Motorsport? I think not. I think Torsten Schubert has done this a few times, hasn't he? How brave is Marco Wittmann going to be to challenge for the lead? How brave is Jack Aitken going to be? He knows that there's a bit of silverware on offer here, not to mention a lot of extra points if he can get past Thomas Preining, but that is more than just the work of a moment. They both go up high on the turn 3 banking, but Jack Aitken, as close as he has been for some time, and Marco Wittmann up with René Rast. Right, 2 minutes, just over 2 minutes and 5 seconds remaining, plus the 1 lap. Are we going to see a change at the end of this race?
And here's round 15 of Arjamani versus Maurice Skuring. Still glued together, still a Porsche just ahead of the Mustang, and taking again very different lines through the banking. Make sure you get on the gas properly, because it's uphill, and you don't touch that brake again until you get over the crest and down into turn 7. Here they come, whistling past us, and then it's Guin versus Vermeulen round 15 as well. So there's lots of duels going on out there, particularly for the race lead and the race win here. Torsten Schubert, the boss of Schubert Motorsport, looking relaxed as he took a sip of tea or coffee, or maybe it was something stronger, but he looked relaxed, and well, he would be, because he's in safe hands. These guys have got 5 championship titles between them. They're not going to do anything daft at all, are they? Are they?
We'll come back to that in about 3 minutes' time. Across the start-finish line, so it's going to be this lap plus 1 more, because the clock is going to strike 0 during this lap, and then it will be the plus 1 lap after that. René Rast has had it under control of all ages in the garage. Everybody's supporting.
There's Wittmann Jr.
Oh, fantastic to see. A real family show as the DTM up on turn 3 for the penultimate time.
Right, now you're Marco Wittmann, you go second place, podium, great, had a decent weekend. Or do you go, no, I've got to win this, I've got to win this race? Let's listen.
Hey Marco, so we have a 7 seconds gap to the Porsche behind us, so we are safe where we are, and please make sure that the tires last till the end.
I think that was a hint from his race engineer. Look, you've got a massive gap behind you, we're safe where we are, i.e. don't do anything daft, don't risk anything. At the moment though, he's not really in a position to go for a gap, because René Rast is just about keeping him at arm's length.
He's certainly doing that, and you feel as though maybe discretion is proving to be better than valor here in this part of the race. The clock strikes 0. They're up at turn 11 at the moment into the chicane, and then in towards turns 12 and 13. So about to start the final lap of the race. René Rast, I think Marco Wittmann looks to have dropped back. Maybe he has settled for second place, if such a thing were possible with a racing driver. I think that's certainly not the case with Jack Aitken. I don't know what else he's got that he can bring to the table, but Thomas Preining is going to be aware that the Ferrari is ready to pounce.
They have been quicker than the 2 leaders for the last few laps. The gap's come down. I mean, it's not going to be a threat, but just shows that they're really pushing each other on in that battle for third. Coming through your shot now between Preining and Aitken, and the gap still remains pretty close. Less than a Ferrari 296 length between them. The leaders are at turn 3 for the final time in this race then, with Rast just ahead of Wittmann, 8/10 clear at the start of the lap. Let's see what that is like, that gap, when they go through the first sector. It looks like it's maybe come down a little bit as they go through. It hasn't. It's almost identical lap times. 19 thousandths of a second between them through that first sector. Rast keeping Wittmann just at bay as they go to turn 7 for the final time. Turn 8, then they're followed by the Porsche, followed by the Ferrari, 3rd and 4th. as they accelerate away into the final half of the lap now. Rene Rast on course for a victory in his 128th race. It'll be his 29th race win. He'll stay third in the all-time ranking list behind Bernd Schneider with 43 wins and Klaus Ludwig with 37, but he's got lots of time to catch them up, the 38-year-old. A disappointing day yesterday for Rene Rast when he went off the road, understandably in very slippery circumstances on slick tyres on a damp track. He won't be making that mistake today. He's almost there. He's almost home and dry. And Rene Rast, having broken the record for pole positions, is about to break the checkered flag. They cheer already. Rene Rast is your race winner.
You were safe. Well done, mate. Maximum pickup, you were safe.
Almost a photo finish for third as well, as Preining and Aitken crossed the line, but just a few tenths between them in the end. A thumbs up and loads of respect between these two, Rene Rast and Marco Wittmann. A 1-2 for Schubert as well to close the gap at the top of the team's championship table. There's the team boss. The perfect day. A first and a second after a difficult day, as I say, for Rene Rast yesterday. He is the race winner, 29 wins in the championship. What a weekend. And Rene Rast and Marco Wittmann, a photo opportunity for BMW and Schubert Motorsport lovers as they come home. So a nice podium finish for Marco on his 200th race start. Thomas Preining back in business in third place after 2 non-finishes. Jack Aitken pushed him all the way, though, and came home fourth. Maro Engel from 12th on the grid, a strong drive to 5th. Luca Engstler with a strong drive to 6th as well. Still managed to fend off Lucas Auer for most of that second half of that race. Auer in 7th, Gunon in 8th despite a penalty. Bortolotti 9th, Miney 10th. We didn't see that, but finally he got past Skuring after menacing him for about, I don't know, 100 laps, it felt like. So it was Miney who got 10th, so the best result yet for Miney in the Mustang and for HRT this season. Skuring 11th, Guen 12th. Vermeulen, who had a penalty as well, 13th. Nicky Tim 14th, and Tom Callender with another championship point in 15th place.
Really entertaining stuff, and 1-2 for BMW, something very similar to what we saw in GT Masters earlier on this afternoon. Good solid points for Luca Engstler and Lucas Auer as well. Engstler making it up to 6th place. Let's have a look at the classification of race 2 of the weekend.
35 frantic laps, 2 pit stops, 1 race winner, Rene Rast. A 1-2 for Schubert Motorsport ahead of Marco Wittmann on his 200th race start. Thomas Preining 3rd for Manthey EMA. Jack Aitken for Emil Frey Racing Ferrari in 4th, Maro Engel in the Winwood Mercedes 5th, then Luca Engstler 6th, Lucas Auer 7th, Jules Gunon 8th, Mirko Bortolotti in 9th, and Arjun Miney sneaking through to 10th place. A great result for the Indian driver in the HRT Ford Performance Ford Mustang. So they were your top 10. Miney, after a race-long battle with Skuring, getting through on the Dutch driver. So he comes home in 11th, but he's had 3 consecutive points finishes now in the DTM, the young Dutch driver. 12th place to yesterday's winner and the driver that started the day second in the championship, Ian Guen. Thierry Vermeulen, 13th, 14th, Nicky Tim, and 15th, Tom Callender. Out of the points, but finishing the race with Durr, Feller, Green, Powell, Glock, Magnus, and Bart. Jordan Pepper stopped with about 5 minutes to go. Heartache for him, and Fabio Scherer never got the car going after a drive shaft failure. In they come then, and you can tell it's been a good day when the slowing down lap takes its time, and it's been such a slowing down lap that half the field has got ahead of Rene Rast before they get back to the pits. He's soaking this up though. He's going to be cheered in to the check area now, as will his teammate Marco Wittmann. He's clapping in the cockpit, look. Rene Rast, already a legend of the sport, in search of a 4th championship title. Gets his 2nd win in the DTM at this circuit, and cheers. And that is motorsport in a nutshell. It can be as low as you like, and it was a low day yesterday, but the highs make up for it, and Rene has had lots and lots of highs. Great effort by Race Laps for Wales in Africa. Over 20,000 euros raised just this weekend alone, with €4 donated by BWT in association with the ADAC to the charity to help cleaner water in Africa for every single race lap combined. So Lucas Auer keeps on scoring points when he can't win races. He's now got a 16-point lead over Rene Rast. He moves up to second in the championship. Tied for third are Guen and Gudon on 73. It's only 2 points between those three drivers. And then it's Engel just behind on 72. Fifth, Wittmann, sixth in the championship now on 70. 8 ahead of Jack Aitken on 68 points. So what a perfect day for Schubert Motorsport and for Rene Rast as well. Wittmann comes home second, Preining third, and well done Jack Aitken in fourth place because he's had a busy day testing a hypercar at Le Mans and getting on a private jet, getting back here about an hour before the race, and he managed to almost get a podium finish out of it. And good luck to all of our DTM drivers at the great Le Mans 24-hour race next weekend.
And you're looking at those points standings, it's half close still, isn't it? It's certainly not going one particular direction, but Lucas Auer, as you say, been very, very consistent picking up the points. But when you've got Rene Rast tracking you down in the points, that's got to make you tremble a little. The mighty Rene Rast, he's made it very clear he is on a mission for that fourth title. And what a display of dominance from the Schubert steamroller here at Zandvoort today.
Yeah, he is. You can tell. I mean, he's always focused, but he's super focused. And, of course, it would be his first title as a BMW driver, having switched brands for the first time a couple of years ago, having raced all of his career in DTM up until that point with Audi. Right, let's get some reaction with Verena Riek down in the pit lane.
And I'm here with the winner, Rene Rast. Congratulations from pole position to victory. You did a phenomenal job. But I've got to ask, before you started the race, you bumped your head and you were saying you had tingling in your fingers. And now looking at you, I mean, you made it. You aced the race, but how are you feeling?
Yeah, it was a very difficult race physically. I had a lot of head pain. Also, my fingers are still tingling, so wasn't easy. But yeah, we made it. I mean, the team did an amazing job, and they deserved it.
I mean, you really did a phenomenal job, and do enjoy the champagne up there. He's got tears in his eyes, I guess. I hope it's because he's extremely proud that he aced the race. Back to you.
Well, there you go. Thanks, Verena. So he injured Rene Rast, banged his head, and feels a bit lightheaded. And given all of that, that was a phenomenal performance, wasn't it?
Oh, that is. And yeah, so I hope the tears in his eyes are emotion, nothing else. That was a great display considering all of that as well.
No champagne on the podium, Rene, because you might need some aspirins afterwards by the sounds of it. Perfect performance by the team as well. The drivers gave them that cushion, so it kind of took the pressure off a bit for both of the pit stops, but nonetheless, really great pit stops once again from the Schubert squad. And the quiet man of the paddock, Torsten Schubert, always very thoughtful. They're not so quiet. Dancing down the pit lane. What a great day it has been for them and for the fans. 32,000 of them watching what was a really good race. We had another absolute cracker yesterday, and that was a really decent race as well, wasn't it? With Rast pushed all the way by Wittmann. I mean, if I was driving a car and I saw a big green BMW driven by Marco Wittmann in my mirrors for 55 minutes plus one lap, it put the fear of God in me. So well done, Rene Rast, for keeping cool.
You think there might be a bit of a party in Schubert Motorsport tonight as well? 1-2. It's not often you see that, two cars on the podium from the same team. Certainly not 1-2.
Yeah, hard to do, isn't it? Absolutely, in DTM. So Thomas Preining gets his championship title attempt to regain the title back on track after a couple of disappointing races. His second podium of the season. He's third. Marco Wittmann is second, and that man is second in the championship now, Rene Rast, after winning the race. So Thomas Preining onto the podium, wrong step, up to third place he goes. Hard fought third place that as well. Another good battle between him and Jack Aitken, who are very evenly matched this season. And for the end of his 200th race, it's a trip up onto the podium for Marco Wittmann. What a career he has had. It's great to see him back up there, also fighting for the championship. 12 years after he first came into the DTM Championship. Oh, he's still lightheaded. Don't fall over again, Rene. And yeah, a slightly weary Rene Rast. What a victory. That was a hard-fought one. He did just enough to keep Wittmann at bay. He's onto the top step of the podium. And a champion true. He makes his way onto the top step. And it's the boss himself that will come up here. Quite right, too. It's been a superb day, a 1-2, a momentous day for Marco Wittmann, a momentous day on Friday for Rene Rast when he got that pole position record, and today for the team with a 1-2 finish. Here's the national anthem. The German national anthem plays with pride here at Zandvoort for our Victor. And there's a synergy to this. On the top step of the podium, a 3-time champion. Second on the podium, a 2-time champion. And third on the podium, a 1-time champion. Champions all round as we get our trophy presentation. And it's the big one first. And it goes to the big man, René Rast. Had to work hard for that one. And he'll count that one, even though there wasn't loads of spectacular overtaking and so forth in his particular race. They'll count that as one of his hardest fought victories, I reckon. Toby Shimon there trying to hang on to the piece of paper in this wind. The wind's a nightmare, but the drivers probably like it, Brian, because it'll cool them down after a hot race, won't it?
Yeah, they were all freezing before they got in the cars at the start. They're all cooking now, aren't they? Schaeffler very appropriately presenting the trophy to the Schaeffler-sponsored Marco Wittmann.
Absolutely. It's his home race next as well at the Norris Ring. He's never had the best of luck there, but he'll have an absolute army of fans cheering him on there, the Bavarian driver, and the Bavarian race and around the streets of Norris Ring, which is our next destination, after which we'll be halfway through already this year's championship fight. There is a champion, 2023 title winner, Thomas Preining. Always remains cool, calm and collected, whatever is thrown at him. And he's there on the podium once again. Eric Schreurs from Puma is about to present our next trophy as he comes up onto the podium. And that is going the way of Torsten Schubert of Schubert Motorsport, who had a 1-2 finish here. And once again, are fighting to win the team's championship, as they did last year. So they'll go on to the top step of the podium for one big pose of photos. They're just about to squeeze up onto there. And then it'll be the race with the champagne. Poor old Torsten is the only one who's not armed with champagne, so he's going to come off worse in all of this. I guarantee it. I'm not sure if Rennie's going to drink his or not, because he's not feeling 100%. But he'll crack it open anyway, as we got our onboard of the champagne bottle. And that's the race-winning bottle of champagne as well. Struggling to get it open, yeah. It's the hardest thing he's done all day. Driving a GT car at 260 kilometres an hour, easy. Opening a bottle of champagne, not quite so easy. Thomas Preining doesn't care if he's not feeling well. You're going to get splattered, mate, anyway. But then comes the revenge, Brian. Yeah,
and a nice on board with René Rast covering Thomas Preining. And what a great shot that is. Great perspective. I've never stood on the podium in front of a crowd, never likely to either. So that's what it looks like.
Fantastic. So, Marco Wittmann's down on his knees as well now. Oh, he's going to have a swing. Not too much, René, not too much. And then I'll do some more interviews. So another great race. That is weekend 3 complete, rounds 5 and 6 done and dusted here at Zandvoort. As I say, next time it's the Norris Ring on the 5th and 6th of July for our next 2 races. The champagne continues to flow. Let's catch up once again with Verena.
And I'm here with Marco Wittmann. Congratulations, you were fighting so hard. It's your 200th race, and from P3 you made it to P2, and you're making René's life really difficult. I mean, I think in the end it was 0.3 seconds difference, but are you happy with the P2? I mean, you did everything you could.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what a team result. To finish 1-2, it's just amazing for the team, for Team Schubert, for BMW. So we can be very grateful for that. He had a very strong pace at the beginning, René, on the first and second stint, but then it kind of turned around, and I was stronger in the last stint, closed the gap. But yeah, at the end it was just not quite enough for an attack. But I'm definitely happy with P2. You know, I mean, it's very good points. Was a very good day, so we can be very, very happy.
Absolutely, and all in all, overall, I mean, with the fantastic atmosphere here in Zandvoort, it's one to remember, right?
Definitely. I mean, it was cold, very cold this weekend, but still, I mean, the atmosphere was great. The fans were amazing, and to finish up my 200th DTM race with the podium is always something special.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Back to you.
Thanks very much indeed, Verena. Well done on what's been an outstanding career today, and one which has got many more highs to come, I'm sure, for Marco Wittmann, who's building a good championship campaign as well. So his first podium of the year, but he scored points in every race. He's been in the top 6 in most of the races as well, and the top 10 in all of them, which is why he's up to 6th place in the championship. Lucas Auer, though, 2 wins this season, and he just keeps on scoring the points. So he's got a 16-point advantage now as as we head off, as I say, in a few weeks' time to our next adventure at the Norris Ring. And that, Brian, always brings about some unusual results and usually a bit of carnage. So it might be a weekend to just try and survive that one.
If you've never seen the Norris Ring before, you are in for a treat. It is like no other circuit. It is as close to DTM on an oval as you will ever see.
Yeah, it's an absolutely phenomenal place, and over 100,000 spectators there last year. It's a brilliant, brilliant event. Right, some highlights from the race-winning performance here of René Rast's pit stop work. Absolutely exemplary once again by the Schubert Motorsport squad. And perfect driving from the man that is, of course, a three-time champion, taking a 1-2 finish here in the second race of the weekend. Hope you've enjoyed our coverage from Brian Oliver and me, Chris Hartley. That's it from the commentary box. Back down to Verena.
And I'm here with Thomas Preining, who fought really hard from P5 to P3. And I know you're freezing like hell at the moment with a soaking wet suit, but you're happy, you've got a smile on your face. You fought hard.
Yes, thank you very much. It's been a really long afternoon for me. I had Jake in my neck all the time. He was really quick and driving really well. So yeah, thanks to him for a good fight. I think we had a good time out there. In general, not so easy. Very difficult to keep the tire alive, and very difficult also to even make them work after the pit stop. But I think we did a great job on strategy, pit stops, and outlaps. So I think this is what at the end of the day gave us the podium.
And I think also in the end of the day, when the wind is this cold, it also has an effect on the car, right?
Yes, I mean in the car it's not cold, but you definitely feel the blows, especially entry turn 7 over the crest. It gets a bit loosey sometimes, but I think it gets loose for everyone. It's okay.
But it was an amazing race. It was fun to watch, that's for sure. And also with all the fans here. I mean, it was such an amazing atmosphere despite the cold. Everybody was sitting here shivering and just really excited about racing today.
Yeah, I think we should maybe come back in August next year. But I love coming here, especially on a weekend like this. You know, with the rain, it really mixes things up. I think this is what's entertaining. Might bring a bigger jacket next time, but all in all, a cool weekend.
And our last question, in 4 weeks we're at Norris Ring, so it's your second podium now this season, so I guess it could continue like this, you wouldn't mind, right?
Definitely, we have some catching up to do. We had unfortunately 2 DNFs, which is unusual for us obviously, and especially it cost us a lot of points, which hurts. So we're planning on coming back. This was the first step in the right direction, and now we need to walk a bit further.
All right, well, best of luck for that. We'll keep an eye on you. Thank you so much, Thomas. And we'll be back, of course, as well in 4 weeks at the Norris Ring. So after an exciting race weekend like this, you certainly do not want to miss the Norris Ring. We're already totally psyched. Can't wait. See you then. Bye-bye. Here are the highlights.
Whoa, well done, René. Maximum pickup, fuel safe.